Howdy do again, guys, and welcome back to NBA Reloaded. The NBA is filled with players that can burst with emotion at any given moment, but that emotion is often brought out by others on the court. In this video, we're taking a look at the 10 disrespectful moments in the NBA. But as usual, before we get started, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our future videos going forward. Number 10, trash talking. Ben Simmons is one player that isn't afraid to say things like they are. He has more often than not been outspoken about how he's feeling, and he displayed the same emotion during one such NBA game. He had just collided with another player, and he just didn't have enough patience that day. Ben said to the other player that he was saying a lot of things even though he was a bad player. He didn't say it in that manner, but his words were a bit harsher.
I just feel better when he's in the building.
Number 9, stunning crossover. There are many players in the NBA that shine because of their skills more so than their stats. One such player is James Harden. He had been playing in the NBA for a long time and has picked up many different tricks to display on the court. One such trick is his crossover, which he once executed to perfection. When he did so, it caused the defending player to fall on the court. But this wasn't even the most disrespectful moment, because after the player had fallen, James stood there and watched him being humiliated. He stood there for what seemed like a very long time. Maybe he thought that his crossover was a bit too much and that he was going to be fouled. Only after he saw an opposing player running towards him that he moved to throw the ball towards the hoop, which ended up perfectly going in.
Stared at him for a few seconds. My goodness.
Number 8, laughing at players. While many of the fights in the NBA are really scary to watch, J.R. Smith made a fight a completely hilarious affair. After a very brutal tackle from a fellow player, he was seriously angry, and immediately a fight broke out on the court. But after a few pushes from other players, he just completely changed tune and started widely smiling at the opposing players. This infuriated the players to no end, and the fight even escalated a bit before it was broken up. He figured, quite correctly, that smiling at the other team would make them madder than his opposition would.
Smart. This is preseason. Wow.
Number 7, celebrating a win. Steph Curry is known by many as one of the best players on the court. He's made a name for himself due to his skills at shooting. He has shown time and time again that he can win a game in the very last minutes with his immense skills. He once again showed that with his win against OKC. There were only 10 seconds left on the clock, and both teams were tied. After a bit of passing, the ball eventually ended up in the hands of Steph Curry. He initially started running towards the hoop, but saw that he had less than 5 seconds left. After a split-second calculation in his mind, he threw the ball from a long way away, and miraculously, it ended up in the hoop. His single throw ended up winning his team the game, and then he proceeded to celebrate his accomplishment in front of everyone.
Fella? Yes, sir! Yes, I'm so happy for you, boy. All that work, baby. What's up, champ? Right place, baby.
Number 6, LeBron's dunk. One of the most disrespectful things one can do on the court is dunking on someone, and LeBron James seems to have mastered doing just that. He's been known to show no mercy on the court, and this shows time and time again. This particular behavior of his was on full display when he fantastically dunked on a player. After doing so, the player had fallen to the ground and was lying there. However, though, LeBron stepped up to him and stared at him full of disrespect before backing away.
Lay it up there. Watch this.
Number 5, Jared Dudley's flex. Some players don't often score that many points, but when they do so, they make sure that people around them know about it. One such player was Jared Dudley. Although he's no longer playing in the NBA, he's still in charge of coaching the new generation. During his time as a player, he disrespected an entire stadium full of fans when he scored a stunning three-pointer. After doing so, he simply spread his arms out as if to say, "Bring it on."
The three by Dudley. Oh, now he put it.
Number 4, staring down a fallen player. Basketball might seem like a fun game at times, but when it comes to it, it can be quite brutal as well. Players often collide with one another at high speeds and in mid-air, which can result in some bruises. Due to all this, players can become quite immune to people having brutal tumbles. Such a thing happened with Marcus Morris when he successfully saved a point from being scored by the other team. By doing this, an opposing player fell to the ground and rolled into the crowd. Marcus then went up to him and stared at him before backing away. That simple stare didn't sit well with the other player, and a huge fight eventually broke out.
Nance, he said something to him. Nance waited a bit, then when he got up.
Number 3. Tackling on the court. One major difference between basketball and football is that there are less tackles in basketball. So whenever a player runs up to another and pushes them, it's always a very shocking moment for everyone involved. This is exactly what one player had to deal with. We are, of course, talking about Ricky Rubio. After he was tackled to the ground, he couldn't even believe what happened to him. He just got up and walked away in disbelief. The player that had done the tackle was taken to the locker room as expected.
Ricky says, I thought he was saying I'm okay.
Number 2. Instigating a fight. Whenever a fight happens in the NBA, there's always a valid reason behind it happening. This reason can be anything, like dunking on someone or tackling someone. But there are some very rare moments in the NBA where nothing like that happens, and yet a fight still breaks out. This is what happened when Chris Paul was going about trying to pick up the basketball from the floor of the court. A player from the opposing team came up to the guy and pushed him for no reason. Chris Paul didn't even have the time to respond before a member from his team had his back. That teammate ended up pushing the guy that pushed Chris Paul in the first place. This strange turn of events ended up starting a fight in the middle of the court, which seemingly had no reason for happening at all.
Oh, what? I mean...
Number 1. Fantastic movement. Doing a crossover is one of those things where it's full of disrespect no matter where and when you do it. There's one player that's been known to show this kind of disrespect over and over again, and that player is Allen Iverson. Anytime he had the ball, you could be sure that something magical was about to happen. He was extremely quick on his feet and had a style unlike any other. One time, he performed a crossover in front of Tyrone Lue, and after he had been stunned, Allen simply shot the ball into the hoop. But that isn't where the disrespect ended. After checking that the ball really went into the hoop, he stepped over Tyrone Lue's body, who had fallen to the ground due to Allen's stunning throw. All that combined makes this one of the most disrespectful things to have happened on the basketball court. These were 10 disrespectful moments in the NBA. There are many more of such moments, and each game that's played presents a ton more for us to talk about. This about wraps up our video, guys. So what do you thought about these? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed the video, then let us know by leaving a like, and if you haven't done so already, then be sure that you're subscribed to our channel and have that bell icon pressed so you can catch up on more videos like this going forward. So until next time, take care and goodbye.